V.W.A Academy. Yesterday we finished up the 22 push-up challenge, 22 push-ups a day for 22 days to help raise awareness for veteran suicide. That gave me an idea. Before I started the push-up challenges, I used to do a thought of the night, and basically it was something that popped in my head during class that I wanted my students to understand. You know, it could be philosophical or mental or physical, how the body moves. So it was always a thought of the night that went into that. Something I was thinking of and something I wanted to convey while I was teaching for the students to go home, read, kind of jog their memory, put the thought in their head of what we were talking about in class. So that gave me an idea. So I wanted to start to do vlogs, which the video blog, trying to videotape some of the lessons that I teach here at class so I can look back on them, improve on them, students can watch them, kind of jog their memory about some of the things we talked about. So tonight, and I'm also going to post them on YouTube so I can archive them and go back and build on those lessons. Here at the V.W.A, the Virtuous Warrior Academy, I always have a rolling curriculum. Everything's broken down in by ranks. The rolling curriculum, sometimes I might do white belt hand techniques, green belt foot techniques, move into Oshu Shik or Hoshin Soul at different levels or different ways of doing them fast, doing them slow, breaking down in sub movements, all that stuff. So every night we kind of hit different areas. Some nights we hit very more specific areas. Sometimes we jump around in the curriculum, everything like that. So tonight will be Volume 1, Episode 1, okay? So tonight we basically hit on, it will be Episode 1, Volume 1 for the first year I'm doing these video logs I can look back on. In tonight's class we mainly focused on kicking. We went back to the basics. First thing we talked about is kicking. The best way you get good at kicking, you need to be strong. You need to be very strong to kick good, and you have to have flexibility. We talked about if you're building up strength in your hips and your legs, you're going to work through a range of motion. You're going to work the muscle through a range of motion, which is going to build up the strength, and it also will help build up flexibility. We talked about the different types of stretching and warming up. You got your dynamic, your ballistic, your static, and you have your static and contracted, meaning you're going to go to a static stretch. You're going to contract the muscle and try to wear it out and then stretch it a little bit more. We talked all about the different ways, the pros and the cons of the different types of warm-ups and stretching. And then we came over, we worked on kicking, if you can see that, kicking. We broke it down into 3 parts. We got the chamber, the kick, which is down to the foot, what part of the foot we're going to be kicking with, whether it be front, side, round, hook, depending on what we're going to hit, and the re-chamber, which is important not to fall forward. We talked about that first chamber. You have 2 parts of that chamber. The knee can either go horizontal or vertical or anywhere in between those 2 angles. Okay? You have that vertical chamber, which is straight up and down. As high as my knee is, the higher I'm going to kick. Or if I'm going to go into a horizontal chamber for a side kick. After that, we talked about breaking down all our kicks into sub-kicks. Okay? Getting that good hugu just say, rotating our hands. If we're going to do a front kick, if I'm going to break it down into sub-techniques, I might come up to a chamber, nice and high, and then come down. Just work that hugu just say and chamber position up and down the floor, working that sub-technique later on. Start to add in, rotate, chamber kick, out to a chamber, back down to a good front stance. Also with these sub-kicks, you can also do it by leaning on counters. You could do it by, if I was going to lay on the ground on my side to practice side kick with back up, so you can see that. If I just want to work the sub-kick, side kick, I chamber nice and high, toes are pulled back, striking with the heel, working that rotation, pushing through my hips, push through the hips, push through the stomach, push through the body, hit with the heel, knee, hip, obliques, shoulder, chin, eyeball alignment into my target. So you can also use sub-kicks on the ground for your other kicks. I call this whole thing, you're just dividing what's already divided down. After that, tonight we worked our Oshu Shik and combinations, and we did a little bit of light beige run. So that was tonight's class. Tomorrow night we have testing. I'm going to do a whole video on testing and some of the pros and cons and some of the things we look for at testing and why it's important for students who are not testing that night to also be here. Okay, we're going to get into that later. If there's any questions or anything anybody wants to add to this kicking, go ahead, give me some ideas. You can critique it, if anybody had fun, if anybody learned anything, if you learned anything how to transition from the who we just said, anything like that. We're just trying to make the school better. So have a good night. Tung Su, train hard. Add to this video so I can remind myself later as we do these, we get to do them longer and longer. I want to invite other masters and martial arts instructors to the school to teach classes, and then maybe interview them to have on record like all the things that they teach, and talk a little bit about the history of martial arts and different stuff like that. So mental note, putting it in the video to invite other instructors out to the school and make videos with them too, some of their ideas. All right, good night, Tung Su.